Hey folks, Papa Boris here playing some more leaders. We're up against Vibes. And we have a really interesting start here. There's this very strong character, and then the Bruiser. They're both really good. The Bruiser's more fun, but I think I'm going to take the Hermit and the Cub, simply because, as I've talked about before, that can be good with the Assassin. And with the Protector already out here, there's a chance that this gets clogged up with junk, and then, I could be the one who has better position to use the Assassin if the Assassin comes out. Now, I'm not thrilled about this. Now, my opponent, at the very minimum, gets a Bruiser and an Illusionist, so they're going to have a really strong start here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, at least I get something good. Whether they take the Bruiser or the Acrobat, I'm guaranteed the other one, and I have been appreciating the Acrobat more and more lately. Very strong character in the right hands. There's a different kind of thinking that you have to do both when you're playing against the Acrobat and when you're playing with the Acrobat, so this could be a chance to showcase that. Okay, so my opponent decides to do the kind of typical thing where they're going to have the Acrobat leap over. Unlike in yesterday's game, I don't have a way to punish that because my opponent has the Illusionist. Yeah, I'm going to get away from here. I don't want to dare my opponent to do any swaps, especially not with the Cub, because the Cub can't even do checkmate. I don't know if I want to move my leader. I like to keep my leader centralized. I don't think I want to step it up. I think I'll just keep it where it is. And now the question is whether I get the Bruiser for like the long-term impact or the Rider just for the short-term mobility. I'm going to take the Bruiser. This could be a mistake. I have to be very careful how I position it, because if I put it here and then my opponent could swap with the Illusionist. I think I'm actually going to do that. We'll have the Bruiser on one side, the Hermit on the other. If my opponent wants to swap, they can. My opponent now has top deck the Jailer, so unfortunately we have the Protector and the Jailer for countering the Bruiser. I'm wondering if my opponent's going to swap actually with the Acrobat here. That actually makes a lot of sense. You swap with the Acrobat, put your leader here, and then you can jump with the Acrobat again. I think that might have been better than what my opponent's trying here. But this is also not anything wrong with my opponent's play. Yeah, I'm definitely nervous about this start. So my opponent has all of the mobility, and I kind of have all the junk. So it's a tricky spot. If I do let my opponent swap, I have to be extremely careful with this Acrobat jumping in. If I put the Hermit here, my opponent can swap that. I don't see any reason to allow that. We'll just do this. And we'll have the Cub kind of just step up. If my opponent goes for the Dare and swaps with my Bruiser, then I can always have the Cub back for defense. In fact, I could even try to dare further by putting my leader here and then daring my opponent to swap, although I'm not sure there's really any point to doing that. If I go over here, I'm just putting myself right in the path of the Rider. Then I have to use the Hermit as defense. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not loving this start. This is a really rough one. We'll grab the Jailer so that I can at least block the Illusionist from swapping out if it swaps in with my Bruiser. And then I'm also here to maybe stop the Acrobat from jumping if the Acrobat gets closer. Oh no, the Claw has come out. Oh my god. So, I mean, I got some good stuff. The Hermit, Bruiser, and Jailer, that's a fine set of characters. A little slow, but it's, good all around. The issue, though, is just my opponent has the Acrobat, Rider, Illusionist, and Claw. Every single one of their characters is, a really strong character. Maybe the Rider is not top tier, but every single one of their characters is just a really strong character who has high mobility and confusion potential. Okay, so my opponent decides to do that. I didn't see that, actually, as a possibility, but this is not a huge deal in and of itself. I can keep everything up, no problem here. It's really just a question of where they choose to put the Claw. That could actually cause me some problems, the Claw positioning. They choose to put it there. That's actually not too bad. That's mostly just aggressive. Like, as I was thinking about what turn I was going to take, this doesn't interfere with that, but it just does give my opponent the ability to pull their Claw up. All right, so we're playing a defensive game today. We're going to do this here, here, and here. And then the Rider is able to go around the other side. So I don't think moving my leader this way makes a whole lot of sense. I'm just coming headlong at the Rider in that case. Although Then I mean, I'm still drafting a character. I don't think I can take the assassin here. I don't like my opponent is just so powerful with their draft. I don't think I have the luxury of being like, well, let's just take the assassin and just slowly wander around the edge of the board to the enemy leader. I mean, I could. I'm thinking about it. I'm definitely tempted by it. So there's the Vizier, which is like the obvious pick, right? You take the Vizier. It keeps your leader alive until, what, probably the Bruiser and the Hermit, or maybe the Vizier himself if it's a really slow game, are able to get up to the enemy. I think I gotta do it. I think the mobility is just going to be really critical. I'll keep my leader where he is. This is totally fine. We'll chuck the Vizier here. I don't think it matters too much simply because the opponent almost certainly is going to put the rider there, and then I'm going to step up with the leader to block the rider. Yeah, I don't know what my plan is for winning this game. My opponent's got the Claw and the Illusionist, which is a nightmare. The Acrobat on top of that, with all like the maneuvering, it just makes it a nightmare scenario of things to try to keep track of. My ace in the hole is that I have the Bruiser, who is unopposed. My opponent did not draft a Protector or the Jailer, which I don't blame him for because there were so many spicy things to take the entire time. But this is an unopposed Bruiser. If I can stay alive with my slippery, coke-fueled leader, then the Bruiser can eventually get up to the enemy leader, and I just need one other piece, the Hermit or the Jailer, to finish the job, basically. So when your opponent has the Claw and the Illusionist, what you always have to worry about is that the two of them swapping places with each other, or one of them pulling the other and getting a different angle than the one that you were expecting. So that's the main thing I'm going to be watching for here, is all those uncomfortable possibilities. Okay, so this is interesting now. So my opponent put the Claw here. That means that if I put my Bruiser here, they could pull the Bruiser up, which I don't really care about too much, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, I think that's actually fine with me. This is fine, he said. Because, yeah, I just move my Bruiser up. I don't care if my Bruiser gets pulled forward. It's what I want to be doing anyways. I can put the Jailer on the Illusionist just to stop any shenanigans. I don't think it matters too much. We'll do this. Definitely. We'll do this. Definitely. And then the question is, what is... Okay, I mean, the Vizier, right, just moves up. I think that's an easy one. Okay, so the question then is, what am I doing with, the other stuff? My leader could go here. If my leader goes here, then the Illusionist can just kind of threaten checkmate here. Then I need to pull the Jailer and the Cub back to avoid getting checkmated, but everything kind of holds together because then the Hermit could step in here and the Vizier could step in here to stop the rider. So it works. I like the idea of stepping my leader up because, depending on if my opponent moves their pieces around, my leader could we could have like a parting of the Red Sea where the Cub steps out or the Hermit steps out and then my leader shoots out and goes to safety. The way that I would normally play this, like in my olden times, right, is I would just like tuck my leader back here or like run it away over here, far away from the enemy pieces as possible. But I think that over here, the rider comes in, it already starts getting a little uncomfortable, then I can run this way, but the Illusionists come in. Yeah, I'm going to trust my instincts. We're going to go here, which means that my Cub and my Hermit obviously don't move. That's the problem. If I had kept my leader even just like here, I could have moved my Hermit and Cub. And there is a price to be paid for this insolence, but I'm willing to take a slow game here and just have the Vizier checkmate along with the Bruiser instead of the Hermit. Even though the Hermit was drafted much earlier, it was the first piece I drafted versus the last, I am okay with taking the slow game here. Now, something to keep in mind is that because I'm not jailing the Acrobat, the rider can always move, and the Acrobat can always come back and be a defensive piece. But I think if that happens, I have a very good shot at winning this game. Because if the Acrobat goes to be defensive, then my opponent has just no offense. So it's interesting my opponent's letting me choose where his Claw sits by just letting me bruise it. I have to really think about my options carefully. Oh man, I've got a very spicy move. Extreme maximum spice level that I really carefully need to think about. Okay, so what I'm thinking about is pushing the claw here and then moving the cub somehow and then running my leader into this spot. That is monumentally spicy because I'm touching the rider. Now the rider could then move up and the acrobat could jump over. Okay, so if I do this, I have to jail the acrobat. It doesn't work because what I would need is I would need the cub to move and then the leader moves and then the jailer steps in here. But then I need something here to stop the illusionist because the jailer's no longer jailing the illusionist. And unfortunately, my cub and my jailer just like can't, switch places. That doesn't work. I'm going to look at it one more time because it is so incredibly incredible if I can actually put my leader here. But the problem is that if I jail... Yeah, if I leave this lane open, the illusionist can swap with the rider, and then the rider moves in for checkmate. So I have to jail the illusionist, but if I jail the illusionist, the rider just takes one step up, and then the acrobat jumps over for checkmate. Okay, so I cannot do that. Okay, so I'm not putting my leader in this location, but I think it may still be okay to shove the claw here. Of course, then the claw can pull up the illusionist. And then the illusionist can swap with my cub. So there's like shenanigans that start happening. Like, this is the shit you have to constantly be worried about. Okay, a lesser move is I could put my leader here. Same problem, because the acrobat can jump over to where the rider used to be. Okay, so I have 2 minutes left to think about this, and I really got to think about what the hell I'm doing to keep my leader alive. Because if I pull the claw here... then it doesn't work since the claw can then pull up my defense. I can decide that sometimes the only way to win is to not play and just leave the claw here. I could just say, I don't mind the claw being here. And then I could just kind of swing everything in. The problem is that if I do this sort of swing everything in business, well, then I could do that weird move next turn. Oh man, I really hope I'm not wrong about this. Okay, we're going to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just ice everything out so that my leader is covered. But I'm going to be really greedy and I'm going to still give myself the option to maybe do that line later. So now, let's say it was my turn now. Let's say my opponent passes just as a, thought experiment. Now I can shove the claw here, put the jailer here, the cub here, the hermit here, and then I actually do get to jump here, and I think I'm safe. I think. Maybe. Oh, God. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay, this is a really interesting line. I'm actually not sure I quite understand what my opponent's doing here, just because with the illusionist here, he can't do anything at all. He's not threatening anything. Like, even here, the illusionist is more of a threat than here. Because from here, he's at least threatening checkmate to swap places with the cub. But here, he's not threatening anything. Okay, so now what I could do is I could push the cub, or push the claw back, and then put my hermit here. And now I am threatening checkmate. The illusionist, by the way, there's no swapping with the leader because of the jailer, right? So I push the claw here, where the claw can't do anything. I put the hermit here. I'm threatening checkmate there. Nothing can go there. The leader can't move. I move in with the bruiser and the hermit. If the claw runs, it doesn't work because the bruiser can still force these two. I just need to make sure I don't get checkmated. Yeah, I think I don't get checkmated here. God, I really hope I'm not wrong about it. Yep, okay. I'm gonna go for it. And if I'm wrong and I get checkmated, this has been an educational experience. So I can do this. It needs to be the hermit going here to threaten checkmate. And now, I mean, I have some choices even. I could put the cub here to protect against the rider. That leaves the vizier over here for protection in case I miss some way that my opponent could defend against checkmate. Or I could just put the Vizier here, which technically still works. Like, if the Rider goes over, I'm still fine. Does it make a... See, this is always my nightmare, is me thinking something doesn't make a difference, but then it does. Okay, if I put my Cub here, the Acrobat can have a jump. I don't know if that matters that the Acrobat can jump like that. It just feels weird to to put the Vizier here and expose my leader from this side. Like, it psychologically just feels massively uncomfortable. All right, I'm gonna just do this. I think I'm okay. The Acrobat can jump here. I think that's fine. I don't think it matters if the Acrobat jumps here. All right, it's time to ship it. Time to see if I miscalculated something. The Jailer, by the way, is absolutely critical here, because if the Illusionist swaps with the leader is alive here, and I am threatening checkmate-ish by moving the Jailer and putting my leader here, but like the Acrobat here stops that. I mean, then we have like a whole game going on, because it's just my pieces are all slow. So just buying yourself a lot of time by swapping with your own leader on the Illusionist can just to put yourself temporarily further away from the enemy pieces can be extremely significant. So yeah, I think I have checkmate here, because if the leader goes here, I just shove the claw with my bruiser, and the Hermit steps into the space that was reserved by the bruiser. There's no going this way, because the bruiser and the Hermit simply step in. So yeah, I think it's just over here. So the bruiser, notice, ended up being extremely critical. If it wasn't for the bruiser, the leader... Actually, no, that's still checkmate, because this if it was a vanilla piece, it could still just go here, and then the Hermit steps in there, because he didn't have enough pieces to cover himself adequately. Yeah, I don't actually have to... It's actually fewer clicks to just use the bruiser as a vanilla piece than it is to use him on the clogs. And you have to click the special ability, then you have to click the enemy, then you have to click the space you want to push him to, all that stuff. Here it's just move. All right, whew, good game, vibes. That was very strong play on your part. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and/or subscribe. I think that was a good... If I may toot my own horn just a teeny bit, a good model game for how to deal with, your opponent just having a flawless draft, nothing but good stuff, but maybe not using his Claw and Illusionist to their fullest potentials. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe. I'll see you again soon. Take care.